We're going to start our coverage of Election Day 2024. Somehow, it's finally here, folks.
The presidential campaigns are over, and now it is up to the American people. Voters have been lining up from coast to coast all day long. The first polls will close in a matter of hours. Former President Donald Trump voted this morning in Florida. The former president spoke to reporters after casting his ballot.
I ran a great campaign. I think it was maybe the best of the three. We did great in the first one. We did much better in the second one.
Trump's running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, also voting this morning in Ohio.
Vice President Kamala Harris is in Washington, D.C. today. She voted by mail over the weekend. Her running mate, Governor Tim Walz, voted early last month. The vice president is urging everyone to get out and vote.
That's what my focus is right now today, I must admit, which is making sure everybody knows the power of their voice through their vote.
It is important to note that we may not know the winner of the presidential race tonight, especially if it's close. Election officials around the country are urging patience as all of the votes are counted. Our Decision 2024 coverage kicks off with the candidates. NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez is at Howard University in Washington, D.C., covering the Harris campaign. And NBC News correspondent Dasha is at Trump headquarters in West Palm Beach, Florida. Good to see you both. Gabe, let's start with you. Howard University, a historically black university, is the vice president's alma mater. She's expected to hold a watch party there tonight. So how are the Harris campaign feeling heading into these final hours?
Well, hi there, Zane, Clay, and Kate. Well, the Harris campaign is cautiously optimistic at this point, but they are being careful not to be too optimistic. They're saying that this is an extremely close race among all the 7 battlegrounds, but they are encouraged by some signs, including the early vote, which they say in places like North Carolina has been predominantly from women, and they feel they are better performing with that demographic. Now, Vice President Harris, as you said, is in Washington today. She spent the morning calling into radio stations, trying to get her message, her last-minute message out. She has been stressing that momentum is on our side. That's what she told voters with several rallies yesterday in Pennsylvania. And you mentioned Howard University, of course, her alma mater. It also has a lot of history for her. Back in 2019, it's where she announced her 2020 presidential bid. And she told an interviewer earlier today that the first time she ever ran for elected office was to be a representative here at Howard University. So if she were to win this election, it would all come full circle. Cadence and Clay.
And Dasha, let me go to you. We heard from the former president earlier today. He's also holding a watch party tonight in West Palm Beach. What's the feeling among Trump insiders right now?
Well, look, they're projecting confidence internally, similar to what Gabe said, is cautious optimism. The former president at his rallies yesterday said he believes he has a 95% chance of winning. Of course, we've all been seeing the polls. It's very, very tight. 95% is overshooting it by quite a lot. But one of the things that his allies are pointing to is that he has always done better than the polls set expectations for. And the fact that it is so close right now, they feel like is a really good sign for them. But the former president has also repeatedly cast doubt on the potential results of this election. He did that throughout his rallies yesterday. And he has basically had this message out there that his supporters that we talk to are very bought into, which is that the only way that he can lose is if there is cheating. He's especially sowing doubt about a process that could take a long time. If it takes longer than just tonight, which it very well could, because let's be clear, of election laws in these states that are part of the process, that there's nothing nefarious there. But he's been sowing doubt about these things taking a long time. This morning, though, he was asked by our great embed Jake Traylor if he would concede if he lost. And he did say that he would if it was fair, and said he feels like so far it has been fair. So this mix of confidence, but also sticking to that pattern of sowing some doubt without evidence, of course, that there has been any cheating, which there has not been any evidence of, guys.
Yeah, and we'll be heading to some polling sites later this hour. Appreciate all of that analysis. Dasha Burns, Gabe Gutierrez, thank you.
One of the most watched counties in America tonight will be Maricopa County, Arizona. That's a major swing county in a swing state.
Just take a look at these long lines in Scottsdale, which is in that county. It's a similar scene we've been witnessing all day long across the U.S.
NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz is in Scottsdale for us. And Liz, voters are not only weighing in on the president in this crucial battleground state. Remind us what else is on that 2-page long ballot you've got.
Hey, guys, yeah, it's a very long ballot, which is leading to some of these long lines here at this polling location. We're at a very popular location here. You can see all these folks that have come out trying to make their last-minute pitches to voters as they walk into this polling center. The presidency also, of course, is something big that voters are voting on. Biden won this state by just 10,000 votes in 2020. People are saying it could be just as tight this time around. Voters are also voting for Senate. Republican Carrie Lake, who showed up here to this voting location a couple hours ago to energize supporters. She is running against Democrat Ruben Gallego. And then another critical thing on the ballot here, guys, is Proposition 139. This would enshrine abortion rights into the state constitution in Arizona. This is one of 10 states nationwide where abortion is literally on the ballot. And time again, we are hearing from voters who say that is the #1 issue that is driving them to the polls. But where we are here in Scottsdale, this is a more conservative area. And voters time and time again also say that immigration is bringing them out to the polls as well. So it's expected to be very tight, guys.
Yeah, and that long ballot resulting in those long lines you described. But I hear a party bus is trying to help fix this problem. What's that looking like?
Yeah, you guys, I've never seen anything like this. This is a conservative group, Turning Point Action, that has literally rented out a massive pink party bus, like a bachelorette-style bus, where they are shuttling people from here to a nearby polling location. In fact, they have their sign up here that says the Trump train. That's what they've dubbed it. They're getting people, bringing them somewhere else, all in an effort to get out the vote, and they're allowing anybody on it. Take a listen to this guy. He said he joined, and he's not even voting for Trump. You decided to hop on the bus?
Yeah, it was a free ride, and in the spirit of, just getting along with everybody, I'm a Kamala supporter, but here I am on the Trump train.
Just because why?
Well, I'm with someone that sees things differently than me, and we didn't want to get separated.
Now, this gentleman did say that once he got taken to this other location, that location ended up having some printer problems. The printer ran out of ink, and then it broke down, so it ended up taking just as long as if he had waited here. But again, guys, all of these creative efforts in this critical battleground state and county, people say so goes Maricopa County, so goes the state. All of these efforts to try to get out every single vote, guys.
And he got a nice ride with some music, from what I heard.
It did look fun.
Liz Kreutz. Liz, thanks.
And snacks, too.
And snacks.
And snacks. We love snacks. All right, let's head now to another key battleground state, Nevada.
Both presidential campaigns have spent time and money courting voters there, especially Latino voters.
NBC News correspondent David Noriega joins us from outside the home of the NFL's Las Vegas Raiders. David, good to see you. So you are at the largest polling place in the largest county in Nevada. How are things going there?
Yeah, this is a pretty unusual polling place, by the way. The Secretary of State and Clark County put a lot of effort into making this kind of a destination polling place for people. There's music, there's activities. We're right off the Las Vegas Strip, and it's worked. More than 1,000 people have voted here so far today. That's more than any other polling place in the county. And of course, Clark County has most of the population of Las Vegas. Now, it's really been a mix of voters here, the people that I've been talking to. I've talked to about equal numbers of Trump and Harris supporters, which reflects just how split this state is. I want to play you a little bit of sound of some of the folks I've spoken to. Take a listen.
I kind of didn't want to vote for either, but I'm like, we need change. I just feel like everything's getting so expensive, the cost of living. We have to work 2 jobs to make a living, and we don't think that's right.
Harris, at least, when it comes to Palestine, she's at least mentioned self-determination for Palestinians and stuff.
So that's a major issue for you?
Definitely.
Registered Republicans are a little bit ahead of registered Democrats right now in turnout, but a big black box is independents. There are a plurality of registered voters in Nevada, and we don't at this point know which way they're going to break. Guys?
Okay. David Noriega, thanks so much. There is a big focus on security and election disinformation at the polls today. Federal and local law enforcement officials are preparing for the possibility of political violence.
Already, the FBI says bomb threats have been made to polling locations in several different states, and the agency is also debunking a fake news clip that claimed the FBI was telling people to, quote, vote remotely due to terror threats. Joining us now is NBC News law enforcement and intelligence correspondent Tom Winter, alongside NBC News Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley. Tom, I'll start with you. What do we know about these bomb threats? I think we're calling them non-credible bomb threats in Georgia.
Well, that's right, Kate, and that's because it's been investigated by the FBI along with state officials in Georgia. They actually just put out a statement from the FBI Atlanta field office, which we can show you, effectively saying, look, they're aware of the bomb threats to polling locations, not only in Georgia, but we've received, Kate, really from different locales across the country, these threats as well, people reporting them, and they all appear to originate from Russian email domains. A little bit of an asterisk to that, of course, it's possible for people to spoof where they're coming from, but I think for the FBI to say that, they have to have done some investigation that believes, in their eyes anyway, that it is credibly perhaps from those domains and perhaps from Russia itself.
To that end, Julia, let's bring you in because Tom just mentioned this threat in Georgia seems to have come from a Russian email domain. What are we seeing in terms of foreign adversaries, I think, of Russia in this election versus years prior?
I just posed that exact same question, Zinkley, to a senior advisor at CISA. They are the chief election security agency overseeing national trends, threats to our elections. And I said, look, you've called Russia the chief foreign adversary threat in this election. Is it bigger now than we've seen in past elections? Remember, we've had evidence of this going back to the 2016 election, that Russia tries to meddle, sow chaos, distrust in the election in order to try to sow chaos in the United States. And they said, yes, that right now, Russia, what they're doing, this meddling, is on a greater scope and scale than they've seen in previous elections. And that out of all of the foreign adversaries, when you look at Russia, China, and Iran, that Russia shows the greatest degree of sophistication. They say that they're doing things like reaching out on messaging apps to specifically target certain demographics of Americans with false information, creating fake news websites. They have lists that go on and on of dozens of domains that are created by Russia to try to appear as if they're real news organizations, sometimes even being very local to try to target voters to make them think that they're seeing something that isn't actually true, like those videos.
And Tom, as you scan the country right now, what other potential threats are law enforcement officials monitoring?
Well, it's a whole host of things, and really there's been a lot of political violence this year. I mean, as we all well know, the two attempts on Donald Trump, but there's been a lot of political violence that we've seen around the globe. We've seen it in both hemispheres. We've seen it in Europe. We've seen it in Africa. So I think the big question here is, as we move forward, is what can we expect in the next 24 hours? And I think there's two things that are going on right now. One, an awful lot of threats that continue to come in and arrests that have been made in the last 24 hours of people threatening polling workers or polling locations or state election officials. That's been very high, and my colleague Julia knows that all too well, crisscrossing the country, focusing on those threats and what polling centers have had to do to protect themselves from the anticipated threats and possible violence that they could get. And that leads us really to the second component, which is this idea that as we go forward, if there's some sort of a question or it takes time for the results to come in and takes time for news organizations or states to call those results of the election, that the disinformation that Julia talked about, whether it be from foreign actors such as Russia or people here in the United States, that could really ramp up and perhaps push people to violence. That's something we're going to be watching going forward.
Yeah, and Julia, briefly, this can all feel so existential. So what can an individual, a person, do if they see something online that they're not sure about or at a polling station?
I asked that question to the CISA director just last week, and she said that voters should look to their state and local officials. Just as we saw Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger do a press conference today about those bomb threats that allegedly come from Russia, he was able to get out in front of it far before we will see the FBI make a conclusion, far before we'll see CISA do anything publicly, because they want to leave this to state and locals. That is what they believe will give the most trust to voters, that there's no kind of federal overreach here in terms of deciding what's true and what's not true about elections.
Okay, Julia Ainsley and Tom Winter, thanks for your reporting. We appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.